The first piece is from Julius Caesar, Act 3, Scene 2. Mark Antony, Caesar's great friend, is speaking during his funeral. Caesar was killed by the senators and Brutus because they feared he was trying to make Roman Empire. Antony is now trying to convince the crowd of Caesar's innocence and Brutus's wrongdoings.
Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears. I come to bury Caesar, not to praise him. The evil that men do lives after them. The good is oft interred with their bones. So let it be with Caesar. The noble Brutus has told you Caesar was ambitious, and if it were so, it was a grievous fault. And grievously has Caesar answered it. Here, under leave of Brutus and the rest, for Brutus is an honorable man, come I to speak in Caesar's funeral. He was my friend, faithful and just to me. But Brutus says he was ambitious, and Brutus is an honorable man. When the poor have cried, Caesar hath wept. Ambition should be made of sterner stuff. Yet Brutus says he was ambitious, and Brutus is an honorable man. You all did see that on the Lupercal I thrice presented him a kingly crown, which he did thrice refuse. Was this ambition? Yet Brutus says he was ambitious, and sure he is an honorable man. I speak not to disprove what Brutus spoke, but here I am to speak what I do know. You all did love him once, not without cause. What cause withholds you then, to mourn for him? O judgment, thou art fled to brutish beasts, and men have lost their reason. Bear with me. My heart is in the coffin there with Caesar, and I must pause till it come back to me.
Next up, we have Lady Anne from Richard III, Act 1, Scene 2. Lady Anne's husband Edward and father-in-law King Henry have both been murdered by Richard III. She halts the funeral procession to grieve the king and to curse the man behind his death.
Set down your honorable load. If honor may be shrouded in a hearse, whilst I awhile obsequiously lament the untimely fall of virtuous Lancaster. Poor key-cold figure of a holy king, pale ashes of the house of Lancaster, that bloodless remnant of that royal blood. Be it lawful that I invocate thy ghost, to hear the lamentations of poor Anne, wife to thy Edward, to thy slaughtered son, stabbed by the self-same hand that made these wounds. Lo, in these windows that let forth thy life, I pour the helpless palm of my poor eyes. Cursed be the hand that made these fatal holes. Cursed be the heart that is the heart to do it. Cursed be the blood that let this blood from hence. What direful hath betide that hated wretch, that makes us wretched by the death of thee, that I can wish to adders, spiders, toads, or any creeping venomed thing that lives. If ever he have child, abortive be it, prodigious and untimely brought to light, whose ugly and unnatural aspect may fright the hopeful mother at the view, and that be heir to his unhappiness. If ever he have wife, let her be made as miserable by the death of him as I am made by my poor lord and thee. Come, now towards charity with your holy load, taken from Paul's to be interred there. And still, as you are weary of the weight, rest you, whilst I lament King Henry's course.
This next piece brings us Launce from Two Gentlemen of Verona, Act 2, Scene 3. Poor Launce is off to follow his boss away from home on a ship across the sea, and he's not certain that everyone is having the proper feelings about it.
Nay, 'twill be this hour ere I have done weeping. All the kind of the Launces have this very fault. I have received my proportion, like the prodigious son, and am going with Sir Proteus to the Imperial's court. I think Crab, my dog, be the sourest natured dog that lives. My mother weeping, my father wailing, my sister crying, our maid howling, our cat wringing her hands, and all our house in a great perplexity. Yet did not this cruel-hearted cur shed one tear. He is a stone, a very pebble stone, and is no more pity in him than a dog. A rogue would have wept to have seen our parting. Why, my grannum, having no eyes, look you, wept herself blind at my parting. Nay, I'll show you the manner of it. This shoe is my father. No, this left shoe is my father. No, this left shoe is my mother. And it cannot be so neither. Yes, it is so. It is so. It hath the worser soul. This shoe, with the hole in it, is my mother. And this my father, a vengeance on it. There 'tis. Now, sit. This staff is my sister. For, look you, she is as white as a lily and as small as a wand. This hat is Nan, or maid. I am the dog. No, the dog is himself, and I am the dog. Oh, the dog is me, and I am myself. Aye, so. Now come I to my father. Father, your blessing. Now should not the shoe speak a word for weeping? Now should I kiss my father? Well, he weeps on. Now come I to my mother. Oh, that she could speak now like a wood woman. Well, I kiss her. Why, there 'tis. Here's my mother's breath, up and down. Now come I to my sister. Mark the moan she makes. Oh, another dog, all this while, sheds not a tear, nor speaks a word, but see how I lay the dust with my tears.
Our next piece will be Julia from Act 1, Scene 2 of Two Gentlemen of Verona. She has just received a letter.
hateful hands, to tear such loving words, injurious wasps, to feed on such sweet honey and kill the bees that yield it with your stings. I'll kiss each several paper for amends. Here's writ kind Julia, unkind Julia, as in revenge of thy ingratitude, I throw thy name against the bruising stones, trampling contemptuously on thy disdain. Oh, here's writ, love-wounded Proteus. Poor wounded name, my bosom as a bed shall lodge thee till thy wound be thoroughly healed, and thus I search it with a sovereign kiss. But twice or thrice was Proteus written down. Be calm, good wind, blow not a word away till I found each letter in the letter, except mine own name, that some whirlwind bear into a ragged, fearful hanging rock and throw it thence into the raging sea. While here in one line is his name twice or thrice writ. Poor forlorn Proteus, passionate Proteus to the sweet Julia. That'll tear away. And yet I will not, so prettily he couples it to his complaining names. Thus I will fold them, one on another. Now kiss, embrace, contend. Do what you will.
Next, we have Romeo of Romeo and Juliet, Act 2, Scene 2. After having fun at a rival family's party, Romeo sneaks into the orchard to try and catch a glimpse of his new crush and to get away from his teasing friend.
He jests at scars that never felt a wound. But soft, what light through yonder window breaks? It is the east, and Aiden is the sun. Arise, fair sun, and kill the envious moon, who's already sick and pale with grief, that thou, her maid, art far more fair than she. Be not her maid, since she is envious. Her vestal livery is but sick and green, and none but fools to wear it. Cast it off. It is my dear one. Oh, it is my love. Oh, that he knew you were. He speaks, yet he says nothing. What of that? His eye discourses. I will answer it. I am too bold. 'Tis not to me he speaks. Two of the brightest stars in all the heaven, having some business, do entreat his eyes to twinkle in their spheres till thy return. Oh, what if his eyes were there, they in his head? The brightness of his cheek would shame those stars as daylight doth a lamp. His eyes in heaven would through the airy region stream, so bright that birds would sing and think it were not night. See how he leans his cheek upon his hand. Oh, that I were a glove upon that hand, that I might touch that cheek.
Next is our Juliet from Romeo and Juliet, Act 2, Scene 2. In this scene, Juliet is on her balcony. She has just confessed her love for Romeo and does not realize until now that Romeo sees and hears her.
Thou knowest the mask of night is on my face, else would a maiden blush bepaint my cheek, for that which thou hast heard me speak tonight. Fain would I dwell on form, fain deny what I have spoke. Farewell, compliment. Dost thou love me? I know thou wilt say aye, and I will take thy word. Yet if thou swear'st, thou mayst prove false. At lovers' perjuries they say Jove laughs. O gentle Romeo, if thou dost love, pronounce it faithfully. Or if thou thinkst I am too quickly won, I'll frown and be perverse and say thee nay, so thou wilt woo, but else not for the world. In truth, fair Montague, I am too fond, and therefore thou mayst think my behaviour light. But trust me, gentlemen, I'll prove more true than those that have more cunning to be strange. I should have been more strange, I must confess, but that thou overheardst, ere I was ware, my true love's passion. Therefore pardon me, and not impute this yielding to light love, which the dark night hath so discovered.
Next, we have Margaret of Richard III, Act 1, Scene 3. Margaret is in a room full of people who she feels had some part in the death of her son or her husband or her downfall from power. So, she curses each and every one of them.
What? Were you snarling all before I came, ready to catch each other by the throat, and turn you all your hatred now on me? Did York's dread curse prevail so much with heaven, that Henry's death, my lovely Edward's death, their kingdom's loss, my woeful banishment, could all but answer for that peevish brat? Can curses pierce the clouds and enter heaven? Why then give way, dull clouds, to my quick curses. If not by war, by surfeit die your king, as ours by murder to make him king. Edward, thy son, which now is Prince of Wales, for Edward, my son, which was Prince of Wales, die in his youth by like untimely violence. Thyself, a queen, for me that was a queen, outlive thy glory like my wretched self. Long mayest thou live to wail thy children's loss, and after many lengthened hours of grief, die neither mother, wife, nor England's queen. Rivers and Dorset, you were standers by, and so wast thou, Lord Hastings, when my son was stabbed with bloody daggers. God, I pray him, that none of you may live your natural age, but by some unlooked accident cut off.
Our next piece brings us Hamlet from Hamlet Act 3, Scene 3. Hamlet spots his uncle Claudius praying. Hamlet knows that Claudius killed his father and seeks revenge.
Now might I do it pat. Now he is praying, and now I'll do it. And so he goes to heaven. And so am I revenged. That would be scanned. A villain kills my father, and for that I, his sole son, do this same villain send to heaven. Where this is higher in salary, not revenge. He took my father grossly full of bread, with all his crimes breath blown as flush as May. And how this audit stands, who knows save heaven? But in our circumstance and course of thought, 'tis heavy with him. And am I then revenged to take him in the purging of his soul when he is fit and seasoned for passage? No. Up, sword, and know thou a more horrid hint. When he is drunk asleep, or in his rage, or in the incestuous pleasure of his bed, at gaming, swearing, or about some act that has no relish of salvation in it, then trip him, that his heels may kick at heaven, and his soul may be as damned and black as hell whereto it goes. my mother stays. This physic but prolongs thy sickly days.
Our final solo performance today shows us Rosalind from As You Like It, Act 3, Scene 5. Rosalind is pretending to be a man so that she can win the affection of her beloved Orlando. In this scene, Rosalind, disguised as a man, is trying to persuade the vain Phoebe to marry the shepherd Silvio, who is deeply in love with her.
And why, I pray you? Who might be your mother, that you insult, exult, and all at once over the wretched? What though you have no beauty? As by my faith, I see no more in you than without candle may go dark to bed. Must you be therefore proud and pitiless? Why, what means this? Why do you look on me? I see no more in you than in the ordinary of nature's sail work. Odds my little life, I think she means to tangle my eyes too. No, faith, proud mistress, hope not after it. 'Tis not your inky brows, your black silk hair, your bugle eyeballs, nor your cheek of cream that can entame my spirits to your worship. You foolish shepherd, wherefore do you follow her, like foggy south, puffing with wind and rain? You are 1,000 times a proper man, than she a woman. 'Tis such fools as you that make the world full of ill-favored children. 'Tis not her glass, but you that flatters her, and out of you she sees herself more proper than any of her lineaments can show her. But mistress, know yourself, down on your knees, and thank heaven, fasting, for a good man's love, for I must tell you friendly in your ear, sell when you can, you are not for all markets. Cry the man mercy, love him, take his offer. Foul is most foul, being foul, to be a scoffer. So take her to thee, shepherd. Fare you well.
On top of all of this amazing solo work these intrepid actors have prepared for us today, we would love to offer you a few abridged scenes that they have collaborated to bring you. The theme, as we realized after choosing these scenes for this specific group of Camp Will students, is mischief. Take it as you will. The first scene is Henry IV, Part 1, Act 1, Scene 2. Falstaff, a petty criminal and liar, lover of life, fun, food, and drink, is a close friend of the young Prince Hal, who is in line to be Henry V, and leads him into all kinds of criminal activities. It's a game they play for fun and entertainment, despite the fact that it has given the prince a less than stellar reputation. Hal enjoys Falstaff's company, but also enjoys fooling him. Hoynes is one of the petty criminals who decides to turn the tables on Falstaff and trick him into becoming the robbed this evening and not the robber.
Thou hast done much harm upon me, thee, Hal. God forgive thee for it. Before I knew thee, Hal, I knew nothing, and now am I, if a man should speak truly, little better than one of the wicked. I must give over this life, and I will give it over, by the Lord, and I do not. I am a villain.
Where shall we take a first tomorrow, Jack?
Zoons, where thou wilt, lad, I'll make one. And I do not, call me villain, and baffle me.
I see a good amendment of life in thee, from praying to purse-taking.
Why, how? 'Tis my vocation, how? 'Tis no sin for a man to labor in his vocation. Points! Now shall we know if Gad shall have set a match. Oh, if men were to be saved by merit, what hole in hell were hot enough for him? This is the most omnipotent villain that ever cried stand to a true man.
Good morrow, Ned.
Good morrow, sweet Hal. What says Monsieur Remorse? What says Sir John Sack and Sugar? Jack, how agrees the devil in thee about thy soul that thou soldest him on Good Friday last for a cup of Madeira and a cold captain's leg?
Sir John stands to his word. The devil shall have his bargain. He will give the devil his due.
Then thou art damned for keeping thy word with the devil.
Else he had been damned for cousining the devil.
But, my lads, tomorrow morning by 4 o'clock early at Gadsill, there are pilgrims going to Canterbury with rich offerings, and traders riding to London with fat purses. I have the zards for you all, and you have horses for yourselves. Gadshill lies tonight in Rochester. I have bespoke supper tomorrow night in Eastcheap. We may do it as secure as sleep. If you will go, I will stuff your purses full of crowns. If you will not, tarry at home and be hanged.
Ha! Hear you, Edward. If I tarry at home and go not, I'll hang you for going.
You will, Chops?
How wilt thou make one?
Who? I rob. I a thief, not I, by my faith.
There's neither honesty, manhood, nor good fellowship in thee, if thou darest not stand for 10 shillings.
Well then, once in my days, I'll be a madcap.
Why, that's well said.
Well, come what will, I'll tarry at home.
By the Lord, I'll be a traitor then, when thou art king.
I care not.
Sir John, I prithee leave the prince and me alone. I will lay him down such reasons for this adventure that he shall go.
Well, God give thee the spirit of persuasion, and him the ears of profiting, that what thou speakest may move, and what he hears may be believed, that the true prince may, for recreation's sake, prove a false thief. Farewell, you shall find me in Eastcheap.
Farewell, thou later spring, farewell, all hallowed summer.
Now, my good sweet honey lord, ride with us tomorrow. I have a jest to execute that I cannot manage alone. Falstaff, Peto, Bardolph, and Gadshill shall rob those men that we have already waylaid. Yourself and I will not be there, and when they have the booty, if you and I do not rob them, cut this head off from my shoulders.
Our next scene is from Much Ado About Nothing, Act 3, Scene 1. Hero and her ladies-in-waiting, Ursula and Margaret, scheme to trick Beatrice into admitting her love for Benedick. They know she is hiding in the bushes listening to their every word, so they decide to have some fun with her.
Now, Ursula, Margaret, when Beatrice doth come, our talk must only be of Benedick. When I do name him, let it be thy part to praise him more than ever man did merit. My talk to thee must be how Benedick is sick in love with Beatrice. Now begin, for look where Beatrice, like a lapwing, runs close to the ground to hear our conference.
Pleasant angling is to see the fish, caught with her golden oars the silver stream, and greedily devour the treacherous bait. So angle we for Beatrice, who even now is couched in the woodbine coverture, fear you not are part of the dialogue.
So, then go we near her. But her ear lose nothing of the false sweet bait we lay for it. No, truly, she's too disdainful. I know her spirits are as coy and wild as haggards of the rock.
But are you sure that Benedict loves Beatrice so entirely?
So says the prince and my new troth lord.
And did they bid you tell her of it, madam?
They did entreat me to acquaint her of it, but I persuaded them, if they love Benedict, to wish him wrestle with affection and never let Beatrice know of it.
Why did you so? Doth not Benedict deserve as well as fortunate a bed as Beatrice shall ever couch upon?
Oh, gods of love, I know he doth deserve as much as may be yielded to a man, but nature never framed a woman's heart of prouder stuff than that of Beatrice. She cannot love, nor take no shape nor project of affection. She's so self-endeared.
Sure, I think so, and therefore certainly it were not good she knew his love, lest she make sport at it.
Why, you speak truth. I never yet saw a man, how wise, how noble, how young, how rarely featured, but she would spell him backward.
So turns she every man the wrong side out, and never gives to truth and virtue that which simpleness and merit purchaseth.
Sure, such carping is not commendable.
No, not to be so odd and from all fashions as Beatrice is cannot be commendable, but who dare tell her so? If I should speak, she would mock me into air. Oh, she would laugh me out of myself, press me to death with wit.
Therefore, let Benedict, like covered fire, consume away in sighs, waste inwardly. It were a better death than die with mocks.
Which is as bad as die with tickling.
Yeah, tell her of it. Hear what she will say.
No, rather, I will go to Benedict and counsel him to fight against his passions, and truly, I'll devise some honest slanders to stain my cousin with. One doth not know how much an ill word may empoison a liking.
Oh, do not do your cousin such a wrong. She cannot be so much without true judgment, having so swift and excellent a wit as she is prized to have, as to refuse so rare a gentleman as Signor Benedict.
He is the only man of Italy, always accepted, my dear Claudio.
I pray you, be not angry with me, madam, speaking my fancy. Signor Benedict, for shape, for bearing, for argument and valor, goes foremost in report through Italy.
Indeed, he hath an excellent good name.
His excellence did earn it, ere he had it.
When are you married, madam?
Why, every day tomorrow. Come, go in.
Our last scene today is from Twelfth Night, Act 2, Scene 3. Maria, Sir Toby, and Sir Andrew have just been scolded by the servant Malvolio for being drunk and causing a racket in Olivia's house. They can't stand Malvolio, and Maria hatches a plot to embarrass him by writing a love note, presumably from his mistress Olivia.
Go shake your ears!
Twere as good a deed as to drink when a man's a-hungry, to challenge him the field, and then to break promise with him and make a fool of him.
Do it tonight. I'll write thee a challenge, or I'll deliver thy indignation to him by word of mouth.
Wait, Sir Toby, be patient for tonight. Since the youth of the counts was today with thy lady, she is much out of quiet. For Monsieur Malvolio, let me alone with him. if I do not gull him into a nayword and make him a common recreation, do not think I have wit enough to lie straight in my bed. I know I can do it.
Ah, possess us, possess us. Tell us something of him.
Marry, sir, sometimes he's a kind of Puritan.
Oh, if I thought that I'll beat him like a dog.
What, for being a Puritan? That exquisite reason, dear knight.
I have no exquisite reason for it, but I have reason good enough.
The devil a Puritan that he is. An affectioned ass that cons state without book and utters it by great swaths, the best persuaded of himself, so crammed as he thinks with excellencies, that it is his grounds of faith that all that look on him love him. And on that vice in him will my revenge find notable cause to work.
Ah, what wilt thou do?
I will drop in his way some obscure epistles of love, wherein by the color of his beard, the shape of his leg, the manner of his gait, the expression of his eye, forehead, and complexion, he shall find himself most feelingly personated. I can write very like my lady your niece. On a forgotten matter, we can hardly make distinction of our hands.
Excellent. I smell a device.
I have it in my nose too.
You shall think, by the letters that will send, that they come from my niece, and that she's in love with him.
My purpose is indeed a horse of that color.
And your horse now would make him an ass.
Ass, I doubt not.
Oh, 'twill be admirable.
Fort Royal, I warrant you. I know my physic will work with him. I will plant you two, and let the fool make a third, where he shall find the letter, observe his construction of it. For this night, to bed, and dream on the event. Farewell.
Good night, Penthesilea.
Before me, she's a good wench.
She's a beagle, true bred, and one that adores me. What of that?
I was adored once too.
Let's to bed, knight. Thou hast need send for more money.
If I cannot recover your niece, I am a foul way out.
Send for money, knight. If thou hast her not in the end, call me cut.
If I do not, never trust me. Take it how you will.
Come, I'll go burn some sack. 'Tis too late to go to bed now. Come, knight, come.
Thank you so much for joining us today, and again for sharing your amazing young people with us. We won't take up any more of your time besides to say, you're in charge of the cast party this time, and we are celebrating with you from afar. To all of our Camp Will students, 3 cheers and keep up all the good that you are bringing to the world. Now give yourselves a round of applause.